Well, my editing skills are crap, but can the same thing be said about Dr. Sleep? Stick around and find out. Here's a sequel. Hey, I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of Dr. Sleep. The synopsis on IMDb reads, years following the events of The Shining, a now adult Dan Torrance meets a young girl with similar powers as he tries to protect her from a cult known as the True Knot, who prey on children with powers to remain immortal. All right, so what is this animal? What type of experience are you likely to be in for? I would describe it as a supernatural suspense drama. It's not a straight-up horror movie. It reminds me of kind of the vibe I've gotten from other Stephen King movie adaptations. It's not just horror. It's not mainly focused on horror and making you scared. It's presenting kind of a creepy supernatural world and usually has some decent emphasis on character development. And this definitely has that. You know, it has drama in it. It's about a man going through a lifelong recovery from a traumatic supernatural childhood incident which took the life of his father and just kind of screwed him up for life, you know. So there's a lot of real human drama that's given supernatural trappings in the main character of Danny. The first half of the movie kind of establishes who the players are. You know, you've got Danny, who's now an adult, 40-something, rebuilding his life. We've got Abra, a young girl, discovering her supernatural abilities, and we've got this group, the True Knot, KNOT, a roaming group of these sort of spirit vampires that prolong their lives by feeding off of the life energies of those with supernatural gifts. Danny has creepy memories going on, you know, in addition to just the drama of him rebuilding his life. Abra has these eerie incidents that, she kind of brings about. The True Knot is seen kind of doing their terrible deeds on more than one occasion, and that's what's going on in the first half of the movie. The second half brings the characters together, and that's about after like an hour plus of time is the halfway point. This is like a 2.5 hour movie, so it's that first half is largely about all establishing who the players are. It definitely does take time to build characters, and I was never bored. I appreciate investment in character, but I was also never really scared during this movie. Again, it felt normal for me from what I've experienced with other Stephen King movies, that it's about drama and characters in an eerie, creepy kind of environment, but it's not like these, Stephen King movies are by far from the scariest movies I've ever seen. I will say, though, that I found one scene very disturbing because it involved violence inflicted on a child. It didn't disturb me the same way like the drill scene did in American Sniper, if you know what I'm talking about. I won't say more, but it was still pretty unsettling. Despite holding my interest, I wasn't very invested in the characters. They gave time to developing the characters and presenting the characters and their struggles and what's going on and what motivates them, But I never fully connected. I'm not exactly sure why. And I can't help but wonder if this could have been a better experience for me if it had been shorter than that roughly 2.5 hour runtime. This is based on Stephen King's book of the same name, and it's a sequel to The Shining. Where the book is a sequel to the book, I assume, this movie is clearly a sequel to The Shining movie. But I don't think you need to have seen the Shining, the original movie, even though the climax of Dr. Sleep leans more than I would have liked it to on the viewer's investment on that original The Shining movie with Jack Nicholson and I believe it was Shelley Duvall. With a few minor changes, I think this actually might have been better as a standalone story without any connection to The Shining. You could have some guy grown up and we see flashes back to like him having a traumatic incident when he was a kid, and it wouldn't have to have anything to do with The Shining. You could make up some other incident that he had or whatever. You don't need to tie this story to The Shining, but sequels of books sell books, sequels of movies sell movie tickets. So what are you going to do? It's understandable that Stephen King would go this route, and of course the movie adaptation would follow suit. As far as the cast goes, I felt like the performances performances were all solid for what I want out of a movie. But no one stood out to me as like remarkable. Like, wow, this is really one of their greatest performances, or a performance from a new actor that's really going to be memorable to me. It wasn't really that kind of thing. They cast 2 actors to replace Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall in these flashback types of sequences, but I wish they would have used a combination of original footage from the movie and Marvel-style de-aging to bring those characters back. I thought that would have been really cool. Maybe they went for that, and the actors just weren't interested in doing that. I don't know. That said, the actors chosen and the hair and makeup that they used for them really did take me halfway to the originals, which was still pretty cool. As far as stunts and visuals, not much to comment on here. There are lots of visual effects, but they're not what I would call flashy visual effects or CG heavy, in the sense of creating lots of smoky, ethereal, spectral creatures and visions and stuff like that. It's a bit of an Inception visual style that, feels weird, is obviously, otherworldly, but it still is visually grounded at the same time, if that makes sense. It definitely gives the movie a distinct vibe compared to most supernatural movies. So I think that was probably a good choice. Now, as far as themes, is there any worthwhile moral, philosophical, spiritual themes going on that might stimulate some worthwhile thought or conversation? Well, a main idea expressed in this movie is that we don't end after death. We go on after death. But like most supernatural movies and stories, it neglects the specific details that determine who gets a peaceful afterlife and who becomes a horrible, haunting specter that is clearly, not a situation we want to have ourselves. There is room for you in this movie to add unspoken details that might conform the movie's take on the afterlife with the Bible, but you got to put some work into it to make that happen. Doctrines of the afterlife aside, though, I was most moved by several scenes involving Danny sitting alongside those who are dying of old age or complications of old age in hospice care. The fear and the uncertainty that those characters expressed as they were approaching death, and his efforts to comfort them in that time, as well as the things that they, claim to see or experience in their final moments, that really rang true with what, many people say that they, hear their loved ones saying or talking about in their final moments. It really, those scenes connected with me as I've been thinking about my own eventual death in the last couple of years as I approached and passed now the 40-year mark. I was reminded once again that there's real value in leaning into those thoughts of death rather than trying to avoid them mentally or ignoring them, but leaning into them, leaning into the and pondering the reality that, one day the breathing and heart beating that your body and mine have carried on so faithfully, one day that it will fail to be faithful. Our bodies will fail us. And we may also see years and years of our bodies progressively wasting away before we reach that final point. And dwelling on that in the right way is extremely valuable, as I've already begun to notice myself. And I think we see that in the Bible as well. Ecclesiastes 7, verses 2 through 4 in the ESV reads, "It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness of face the heart is made glad. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth." And then Psalm 39, verses 4 through 7 in the ESV says, "O Yahweh, make me know my end and what is the measure of my days. Let me know how fleeting I am. Behold, you have made my days a few handbreadths, and my lifetime is as nothing before you. Surely all mankind stands as a mere breath. Surely a man goes about as a shadow. Surely for nothing they are in turmoil. Man heaps up wealth and does not know who will gather. And now, O Lord, for what do I wait? My hope is in you." All right, I have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, I would go back in time and say, Peter, this one you'll be interested in seeing at some point. Wait for an opportunity to watch it free. Maybe it's going to be part of a streaming service that you already pay for or on a free streaming service, at some point. watch it then. You can certainly wait on this one. And while you're waiting, maybe when the opportunity arises to see The Shining for free, then, watch that, because this movie does lean a bit on your investment in that original movie, even though it doesn't require you to be familiar with it. You can get my spoiler-filled reactions to Dr. Sleep in my Spoiler Car video series, just one of many perks available for your support over at patreon.com/spiritblade productions. The MPAA rating for this one is R for disturbing and violent content, some bloody images, language, nudity, and drug use. And the moments of what I would call like full-on, very visible nudity are arguably produced by makeup. It's kind of like an unflattering naked corpse lady type thing going on. I would recommend IMDb if you want more details on that. Right now, I'd like to take some time to write a tune for pre-made rhyme. The lyrics kind of never change, but the melody gets rearranged. I never know what I'll create to say how much I appreciate Brian Franklin, Gabriel Stinson, Colin Wright, Lee Bray, Stefan Kremick, and Winston Crutchfield. Thank you for supporting me and SPP and CGC. And now to all who hear this tune, thank you as well. Please come back soon. Want to hear your name in song? Check out our page on Patreon. All right. Those are my thoughts. I'd love to get yours in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, click that bell to stay connected to what's going on here. I want to thank again the Spirit Blade Insiders for making this review possible. Again, patreon.com/spiritblade productions for more info. And then join us over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We've got a ton going on here at Spirit Blade Productions and Christian Geek Central, including our in-depth Bible study for geeks, movie, game, and other entertainment reviews or commentary, live streams, Christian geek news, original audio dramas, and tons more. And on top of all that, you can become a Spirit Blade insider with an influential voice and get access to exclusive content and rewards. It's your involvement as a patron that will keep all of this going and growing, so I want to thank you for your consideration in that. For more information, please check out our Patreon page through the link below at patreon.com/spiritblade productions. Thanks for listening.